Hi, everybody. I'm Tabitha, and today we're talking about point of view. First of all, I want to thank everybody who found me on Twitter or my website, tabithashipleybooks.com, or other social media sites and requested topics for this YouTube channel. Point of view is one of the topics that comes up a lot, especially when I'm talking to brand new writers. And I think that's because sometimes experienced writers can almost sound like what we're telling you are rules. For example, young adult always has to be in first person. Look, these aren't rules. Point of view is a tool. It goes in your writer's toolkit, and you can use it to make your stories better. I always suggest to people that they play around with a new story when they're first outlining it or thinking about it. Write a scene in a couple different point of views. Write a scene with a different main character. See how it feels and see who you connect with the most. With that being said, let's dive into point of view as a tool. It makes sense to start with first person. After all, it has the word first right in it. First person, as you know, means the main character is your narrator. It's going to be marked with a lot of I. For example, I walked into the room and saw an unmarked box in the center. When your main character is telling your story, you instantly feel more connected to that character. If your main character is emotional, we're going to be instantly connected to their emotions. We tend to view other characters the way your main character views them. So we may instantly like someone, instantly hate someone, instantly think someone's kind of mean, instantly think they're kind of a bully, all based on how your main character sees them. This can be an incredibly powerful tool if you meant for it to be used that way. It gives us instant insight into other characters. The other positive to first person point of view is that we are inside of your main character's head. That means we can hear what they're thinking, what they're feeling. We can get really heavily connected to them. If you're dealing with deeper emotions that maybe wouldn't run on the surface, but would be underneath, something that your character is hiding, first person is going to help bring those to the surface and let readers relate to them. I think this is the reason why we see first person a lot in young adult. We want young adults to learn how to recognize those emotions and feelings that are under the surface. We want them to learn that other people think and feel those things too. We can do this through first person point of view. There are, of course, negatives or downsides to first person. In first person, you traditionally are connected to one character, the one who's telling the story. It can make us feel a little disconnected from some of the other characters. Also, a lot of times in first person, because we're dealing with emotions and things that are under the surface, we have a tendency to tell you a lot about what's going on in their heart or mind, and it sometimes can cause us to spend less time on dialogue. So if you're going to use first person for the pros it offers, you have to be aware of the cons that may be getting in the way of your writing. The other most common type of point of view for literature is third person. As you know, third person is when an outside narrator, who's not part of our cast of characters, is going to tell the story, almost like they're watching the movie as it happens and describing it to us. Emily walked into the room and saw the unlabeled box in the center. Something like that. In this case, Emily might be my main character, and I'm just watching her do this. In third person limited, we only get to know what they said out loud or what they actually did. But if we're omniscient, we get the benefit of first person as well because we can see into their head. In fact, in third person, you have the opportunity to feel connected to more than just one character. You could choose to use your entire cast in this way. Another benefit to third person is that if your reader should feel differently about a certain character than your main character does, third person allows for that to happen. We can know things that your main character doesn't because your narrator isn't your main character. So that's a powerful tool that you can use to your advantage. A downside to third person is that we don't have that instant connection to the main character. We're not going to automatically like them. We're not automatically going to know what they're thinking or feeling. It's going to force them to have to say some of these things out loud. And sometimes those conversations can be a little tricky or unrealistic. Keep that in mind if you choose to go with third person. The last type of point of view you can choose from, and one that's not as common in literature, is second person. Second person, as you're probably aware, still deals with an outside narrator, but this time it's going to drag you, the reader, into the story. So the narrator will say things like, you enter the room and see an unlabeled box in the very center. Second person it always makes you think of choose your own adventure books. You are entering this. What do you do next? I've never used it for a fiction story or literature story myself. And I don't know that I've ever read one either, and I read an awful lot. So actually, I'm going to challenge myself this month in March to attempt to post to my blog, which can also be found on my website, tabithashipleybooks.com, a small story or a short scene that uses second person, just for fun to say that I've tried it. I don't know that it's going to work. It could be an epic fail, but I feel like I'm going to give it a shot. So if you want to play along, I'd love for you to link your blog where you post a scene or a snippet of something in second person right here in the comments of the YouTube channel so that we can all go check it out and see how that worked for you. Okay, that's it for me and my opinions on point of view and my tips on how to use point of view as a tool in your writer's toolkit. I hope you found at least one thing that works for you today, because that's all I'm here for. If I can help even one person, then I'll know I did what I meant to do. So if you have something I can help you with, if you have a question or a comment, drop it down here in the comments and I'll check it out. Otherwise, hit subscribe so that you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your dreams, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.